Now, for the first time, Iran has told the United States that it is ready for direct negotiations on the nuclear deal. This could be a possible turning point in efforts to salvage the 2015 nuclear accord. Now, since last year, Tehran has been engaged with other world powers who are still a part of the agreement. In 2018, Washington unilaterally withdrew from the accord under then U.S. President Donald Trump. Since then, the country has been taking part indirectly in the Vienna negotiations. It seeks to bring the United States back into the nuclear accord and ensure Iran returns to its commitments. However, the United States has said on multiple occasions that it would prefer to hold talks directly. Now, on Monday, Iran's foreign minister said that his country would consider doing so if they proved the key to good agreement.
در روند مذاکرات به مرحله‌ای برسیم که رسیدن به یک توافق خوب با تضمین بالا لازمش این باشه که سطحی از گفتگو رو با آمریکایی‌ها داشته باشیم، این رو هم نادیده نخواهیم گرفت در برنامه کاری که در مذاکرات برای رفع تحریم‌ها خواهیم داشت.
A U.S. State Department spokesperson has reiterated that the United States is prepared to meet directly. The statement said, I'm quoting here, "We have long held the position that it would be more productive to engage with Iran directly on both JCPOA negotiations and other issues. Given the pace of Iran's nuclear advances, we're almost out of time to reach an understanding on mutual return to full implementation of the JCPOA." Now, Iran is currently negotiating with other signatories of the deal as well. This includes Germany, France, China, Britain. The talks began last April, were suspended 2 months later. This was when Iran elected ultra-conservative President Ibrahim Raisi. Relations between the United States and Iran have been sour since April 1980. Relations worsened significantly after Washington withdrew from the nuclear deal. The nation also reimposed economic sanctions, which prompted Tehran to backtrack from its nuclear commitments. And now for more on this, we're being joined live on this broadcast by Mir Javed Anwar, who is the West Asia analyst and co-author of The Nuclear Sphinx of Tehran. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Iran has told the United States that it is ready for direct negotiations on the nuclear deal. How would you explain this sudden shift?
Well, I have to qualify that statement. Iran has said if they reach a stage where Iran sees it as beneficial, then it would start talking to the Iranians, to the Americans directly. We have to remember that until now, Iran has refused to negotiate directly with the Americans. This was as punishment for President Trump leaving the Iran nuclear deal. Of course, the recent statement by Iran is positive. It's a positive step forward that it would be ready to talk to the Americans, but the precondition is not very clear. They said that they would be willing to talk to the Americans when it serves Iran's interests, and if they reach that stage, what would be, what would need to happen? It's very vague to say when it serves Iran's interests.
Right. Now, sir, absolutely, like you mentioned, Iran has in fact said that the country would consider doing so if they proved the key to a good agreement. Now, what do we mean by that here?
In terms of the Iranians, the good agreement is one where, first and foremost, everybody returns to the previous nuclear deal. Second of all, Iran wants the United States to issue guarantees that it would not break the nuclear deal again. And President Biden is unable to do that. President Biden can say that his government will not walk out of the nuclear deal, of course, if Iran keeps it. But he cannot guarantee what the next president of the United States will do, because the behavior of the next president of the United States depends on the vote of the people of the United States, and it's their democratic right to wish to stay or leave the nuclear deal. And this is something that President Biden simply cannot deliver to the Iranians. Meanwhile, the Iranians, who are very angry by President Trump walking out of the nuclear deal, are insisting that there are guarantees. So we are at an impasse here, and this could cause the talks to break down within the next month or so.
Right. Absolutely. Now, if and when this does happen, if it will at all, This is being seen as a possible turning point in the efforts to salvage the 2015 nuclear record. How do you assess that?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that we're gonna be able to salvage it this year. Okay. I think it's very possible that within the next month the talks will break down, because on the one hand, Iran has a right to want guarantees from the United States, because President Trump unilaterally walked out of the nuclear deal, and he did it despite the fact that Iran was keeping to the nuclear deal. Right. But at the same time, what Iran is requesting is impossible. The Americans simply cannot deliver it. So, and for now, the Iranians are not willing to step back from their position. The Americans cannot step back from their position, because what's being asked of them is simply impossible. So I think we're going to be at an impasse, and I think the talks are going to break down. When they will resume again, I don't know. But once the talks do break down, I would say more than 70% chance by mid-February. Once they do break down, then I think we're going to be in a very precarious situation whereby Iran is likely to increase its nuclear advancement, and this is likely to increase the likelihood of military action by the Israelis, if not the Americans.
All right. Mr. Javedan, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with all your inputs. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.